Today we are going to talk about evaluating expressions using our order of operations, and we're going to talk about two special cases that we will see. The first expression we're going to use is 7 squared minus 5 in parentheses 10 minus 2 cubed. Now this is a special case that gets a little tricky for students because as you can see, there is no operation here. There is no operation between that 5 and that parentheses. Solving expressions, evaluating expressions like this is part of algebra. And in algebra, when there's not an operation, we always default to multiplication. So when we see this, and we see a number directly next to a parentheses and there's no plus sign here, subtraction sign, division sign, then we automatically will multiply. Okay, so let's give this a try. We use our order of operations, so we start inside of our parentheses. So we look in here and we've got an exponent. So that exponent 2 cubed is 8. I drop down my 10. I bring my parentheses with me. I'm not done with them. I'm not done with them because I still have some evaluation to be done inside of those parentheses. Which leads me to my next step, finishing out those parentheses. 10 minus 8 is 2. Now, I'm still not done with parentheses. Although I have evaluated everything inside, these parentheses are being used now as a way to show us that we're going to multiply. Okay, so we want to make sure to bring those down. Otherwise, we would have something that looked like this, and that gets confusing because that looks like 52, which we do not want. All right, so we got to bring our parentheses down because although we're done evaluating inside, we're not done using them as an operation. I bring everything else down. All right, next, I finished inside my parentheses. Okay, so everything inside my parentheses is done. This shifts now to parentheses to multiplication. So I'm done with parentheses. So I move on to my exponents. 7 squared is 49. I bring down the remainder of my expression. Now here is where I am done with exponents. I'm done with inside parentheses, so I'm left with multiplication. So now I multiply these. 5 times 2, so that's just like I would say 5 times 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Bring everything else down. 49 minus 10 leaves me with 39. So the value of this expression is 39. So once again, when we see a number next to a parentheses with no operation in between, we will multiply. That's our first special case. Our second special case looks like this. 54 divided by 6 plus 31, all on top of 7 minus 3. Now, this bar right here is a division bar. That is telling us that we will divide. It is also used as a grouping symbol. I must solve everything on top and then everything on bottom before I can divide. So even though we see down here that there's subtraction, this is like there's parentheses around that 7 minus 3. So I need to solve everything on top, everything on the bottom. So I'm just left with two values, one on top, one on bottom, and then I can divide it out. So let's try. So we start, I like to start on the top, and I just go in order of my operations. I've got division here, no exponents, no parentheses, so I'll start with my division. 54 divided by 6 is 9. I bring everything else down. Okay, I'm going to finish off that top. 9 plus 31 is 40. And while I'm at it, I might as well go ahead at this point and do the bottom. 7 minus 3 is 4. Now I'm left with one value on top, one value on the bottom. And essentially what I'm doing is simplifying, right? So I need to divide now. That tells me, that bar tells me to divide. So 40 divided by 4 is 10. So the value of this expression is 10. Again, we saw evaluate everything on top, evaluate everything on bottom, and then divide the two numbers.